Stephen Elliott, the Valleyfolk, they're here to have a good time. Lee Joe, Stephen Elliott, the Valleyfolk, some good friends of mine. Lee Joe, Stephen Elliott, the Valleyfolk, they're here to have a good time. Lee Joe, Stephen Elliott, the Valleyfolk, some good friends of mine.
Wow! Oh my God, I love that.
That was
Wasn't
so
that good?
good. Where's
That's
Lee?
so good.
Where is Lee?
Not
You're sitting in her seat, dude.
guys. I have a confession.
Are you Lee?
He's not Lee.
Only on the inside.
Hey guys, welcome to the Valleycast. This is the official podcast of the Valleyfolk, hosted by, featuring the members of the Valleyfolk, Elliot Morgan, Joe Beretta, Steve Zaragoza, and Lee Newton, who's not here today because she is with family or something.
Yeah, she's out of town
Yeah.
on personal business.
Yeah.
Personal business.
Cool.
Personal business. But she did say that she's sorry that she could not attend.
I can't wait
She
till
loves
I'm
you
out
babies.
for personal business. What the fuck are you guys gonna do? Like, this is all my equipment and
I'll
stuff.
figure it out.
Okay.
What are you talking about? What?
I said I can't wait till I'm out on personal business. What the fuck are you gonna do?
I
This
was
is all
in my head. I was like,
podcast
"What's
equipment.
personal business?"
It's
You're
Isn't
right,
that like-
because they always say, like, is it business or pleasure?
Yeah, business pleasure. Yeah, it's like pleasure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no real. But I see what you're saying. It's
well,
just
she
an
has
official
another
way.
job
called being a human being.
that isn't this right now.
Guys, welcome.
Wait, who made that? Who made that little ditty?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
made
so
that?
rude of me.
Because that was a good ditty. It was simple. It was
my fault. I distracted.
It was very pleasant for the ears.
It
He
was-
said all our names.
I love that.
made by a user on SoundCloud called Storier.
Ooh.
And it says, theme song for the Valleycast, Lee, Joe, Stephen, Elliott, the Valleyfolk. They're here to have a good time. Oh, it's the lyrics. Lee, Joe, Stephen, Elliott, the Valleyfolk, some good friends of mine.
Reading it.
Storier. Okay, those were all the lyrics.
I review that with a thumbs up, and I'll give you a little pinky wiggle.
Yeah, that's
really love
wonderful.
that. Yeah.
You know, I think eventually we should just choose one, right? Or do you think it should change every time? Is that just
don't
how
know.
it should
I
be
think,
forever into perpetuity?
If you're just joining us on the podcast, every week we do an intro that's made by our audience members, and they upload it to SoundCloud, and
It's right next
really
to the
nice.
upload button.
Yeah, exactly. Which it's upload. It's a little
Yeah.
different, but it's specifically for the Valleycast, and it's nice.
I would contend. I mean, it's a conversation, right? We could even give it out to the people that listen to us. Do they like that, or should we find one on a branding level? People would go, "Where the hell is your theme song?"
Well, I'm just
no,
happy-
I
I'm
don't
just-
give this. I don't give them permission. to
Yeah,
make
I'm
this.
just happy that like we're getting enough of them that we haven't had to like repeat any.
Some of
Yeah.
them have been really, really amazing, like catchy and very like
Yeah.
music. The idea of writing even a simple jingle to me is so beyond my like ability as a person. Like I don't understand it. Writing music to me is the most incredible thing.
Yeah, it's
like
wonderful.
if you can write a jingle with a melody and lyrics, I think that's so cool.
Oh, I
I'm
think
sure
it's inside of you.
I think it is too, but it's buried so much deeper than so many other things I want to.
But you know how you're a writer? Like all you have to do is write something in the format of a song.
Yeah.
Like even if there's no melody in your head, and you can give those lyrics to someone who can create that into a song.
That sounds cool. That's kind of like what Ben Folds did that with like Nick Hornsby, I think his name was. He wrote a book of poetry, and then Ben Folds took the poems. And
That's
like,
cool.
It became this thing called
Hey, give
Lonely.
those-
They did
Give
that
those
too.
words a little,
Avenue, I think.
a little rhythm.
Who's the guy? Fuck. Oh, I hate that I can't remember his name. But that author that wrote the Secret Lives of Jellicle Cats or whatever, which ended up being Cats the musical.
Oh, I don't know.
It's just like some famous. I'm a piece of shit. Someone's yelling it at their goddamn iPhone right now or
I'm
whatever.
not.
But it's just a famous writer.
But also not listening to this podcast. It's just a crazy person out on the street
He's just yelling at their, yelling the
iPhone.
name of the person. But no, they took that man's poems and they turned it into songs for the musical Cats. And the only caveat, I guess, was that if they wanted to use this man's precious poetry, they could not change a word. So it makes all of the music so fucking weird, man. Because it's all like word for word poetry. So like some of it doesn't even rhyme, and it's songs. It's very strange. Cats is such a strange musical.
That's kind of like how we were talking about how the caveat for having Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny.
Oh, yeah, they
Who
had
Framed
to
Roger- the
share
exact
screen
same-
time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so. It's like it's interesting. We're like, you can do it, but there's one thing.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a lot of Weird Al like behind the music stuff, where like
Yeah.
Weird Al would reach out to the artists and they would always be like, well, here's the one specification.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he did that with Eminem. Eminem said something that like would have made it impossible for him to make it a funny song, so he just didn't parody Eminem.
Eminem, I think, said straight up no.
Yeah,
once.
he was real.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what
he
it
said no
was.
for a while, but then I think, yeah, or maybe I'm thinking of Prince, Because he said at one point people were asking Weird Al if there was anybody who's never been able to parody or anybody who said no, and he's like, there has been one specific person who's always said no, and I won't say who they are, but let's just say they used to formerly be known by a symbol or something. He said that obviously before he died.
I love how the Michael Jackson one is so fun. It's just like he asks Michael Jackson's people, and he's just like, yeah, go ahead.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to turn your song "Beat It" into a song called "Eat It,"
Also,
about eating food.
Can I have every single location that you shot at, and can I also do that? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do it. Go ahead and shoot everywhere you want to shoot. I don't care.
I love it. He was a sport. He was a good sport.
Anyway,
I feel like.
sorry guys.
So yeah, welcome to the Valleycast. For those of you just joining us, fuck you. Listen to an old one.
Dude,
I'm not going to explain to you
nice.
what the podcast is because
Yeah.
I
Good
think what are
job.
we like 18 deep now
We're
or
18
something?
deep. There's no reason.
18 guys. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's real cool.
Flies by.
Real fucking cool.
Flies out. Remember 9? You guys remember number
Oh
9?
man,
Oh my
it
God,
doesn't get
9,
better
dude.
than 9.
Please.
We haven't topped 9.
Episode 9, everybody. I don't know. The Christmas song from last episode is a
Oh yeah, it
highlight
was Santa's
for me.
Crown.
Yeah, man.
Santa's Crown was really
It was
nice.
so
Sounds real
good.
Ryan Faroki, shout out, edited the video highlight version of that video, which you can see on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thevalleyfolk. And he did a great job, but he was watching it and he texted me. He was just laughing, like, Santa's Crown. He's just like, this Santa song is so fun. It's so
Thistle
good.
Bear, and then man, we were
Dude,
Yeah.
Ryan made us a gift. Have you seen it? He showed me a little taste of it,
No,
and
I
he
don't-
wants to
what?
bring it to the office this week.
Great.
So I
cool.
think we should invite him. We'll figure
We'll
out a
do
day
that.
for him to come by. But anyway, guys, so welcome to the podcast. Any
housekeeping? Is there anything? What did we talk about?
Oh, we
last
just
week?
put up a sketch on Patreon. If you're a
Yes, we
patron,
did.
you already know that because this is now the next day. We put a sketch up yesterday just for the patrons, and it's the first sketch we shot in the office, which is really monumental and fun.
If you're hearing this podcast now, it's out in the world, so check it out at youtube.com/thevalleyfolk.
Right, because now it's, if you're listening to this Thursday as a non-patron, then it's already up on our main channel.
It's really good. We
hopefully
It's
you
very
like
good.
it.
It's very funny.
Yeah, it's really a lot of love, and Joe basically directed it, and Elliot was on hand to throw jokes at us and give us a lot of critiques. In fact, there's one moment in there, which I should have just left in, or I should have put in the blooper moment. There's like an end after the movie or whatever. There's like a blooper reel basically, and at one point there's a moment where Lee and I are like saying some stupid shit, and then we just start cracking up, and then Elliot off camera goes, "What is your guys' relationship?" Like, it's incredibly unclear what your relationship is. But
I loved it. I love the video. I think it turned out great.
It's great.
When you're filming stuff, I forget that, like, because in my mind, I always want everything to be perfectly beaded out, and then you guys do this sort of meandering, like, fine magic as you go, and then you cut it and together, and it's beautiful. But in the moment, I'm always like, I get worried.
You're like, where's the beginning, middle, and end?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm
like,
so
what's the...
yeah. I get that. And the way that I work, like, I think I am most comfortable doing improv style sketches and not necessarily like super written ones.
Yeah,
and-
totally.
Because like I'm terrible at remembering lines, and it's
Well,
like
and
the
it,
bane
like-
of my existence, basically.
And you also like riff so well that I think if you're just given like some structure with
Yeah.
a sketch, you can then take that and make something better than
It was a
anything
ma-
that can
it
be
was
It's
written.
a morsel. Turn it into a full-fledged dish.
Well,
you
thank
little,
you guys.
little pretty man.
It was like a real a problem when we were doing Nuclear Family.
You little pretty man.
you little pretty man.
You little pretty man.
When we were doing Nuclear Family, I annoyed everyone because like Lieberman and Bree were writing sketches like all day, and just like sketch
and then
after
you would
sketch
come
after
in and
sketch.
obliterate their
Yeah,
lines.
and I'd be like,
you're not a writer's
well, not
friend,
even
is
that.
what you're saying.
Like, not even just that. I would like come in and they'd be like, "Oh, today's Steve's sketch day," and then Lieberman and Bree all have roles on the Nuclear Family channel, and some of like they'd be like kind of micro producing also because we were all producers on the channel.
Humble brag.
And we'd be like,
One day,
yeah,
man.
super humble brag. What a great channel that was. Lots of followers, lots of subscribers. I'm just kidding. I love
I think
it.
people loved that.
No, it's a great channel. I'm just kidding. But we would come in on a day where, like, on the calendar, it would say, like, Dave and Ross sketch. It would be my day for a sketch. And the day, like, I think the first one or the second one or something I did, Lieberman came into the room and was like, "Hey, man, so we're just collecting materials for, like, the sketch later today. Can I just see a script so we can, like, get materials ready and see what we need for the shoot?" And I was just like... There's no script. There's no script for this shit. It's
we don't do scripts.
We don't do scripts. And then Ricky, who is like shooting it, basically comes over to me and he's like, "Hey man, just send me a script when you get a chance so that we can like make sure we get all our shots." And I'm like, "There's no script."
Dude, that's so funny because what that was behind closed doors. Them being like, "We don't have a script from Steve."
Yep.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
We all ask him for a script. He'll take the hint.
You're a
but
nightmare
you took,
thunderstorm of
Oh yeah,
creativity.
Yeah.
that's the thing. It was but that was the thing. Like I remember having
you're insufferable.
I remember having our like initial nuclear family meeting about like what the channel was going to be and like what we were going to do and how we were going to do things. And like Lieberman was very specific about like having like a structure and rules and things like that. And I was very much like, fuck the rules, man. Just roll the camera. Let's get some costumes on. And like obviously it's like that's not always the best way to do sketches at all, but like it just worked for me.
It's
Happy medium.
Yeah,
Happy
it's somewhere in the middle because like not to get into the weeds too much of all this, but your version is a 17-hour block of footage.
Yes, that then is edited
The
down to a
scripted
10-minute
version
thing. That,
is
yes.
the 1 hour block of footage, and it can be maddening depending on who's taking on that task.
Right, and
So-
you're right. That's the difference from a production standpoint for sure. Like the editors would have an hour, but like Santa Steve videos would be like 2 hours long, like the full shoots, and then it would be edited down to like a 12-minute video. I think.
God bless editors.
I know, man. They killed it, and that's why everybody's like, "Oh my God, Steve, you're a genius!" But really, it's like out of the 2 hours, there's 12 minutes of really solid shit.
Right.
So welcome to our podcast, which is an unedited diatribe of us.
basically.
Oh, by the way-
unedited shit. Ooh. Wait, which first?
I was-
are you moving on? Are you segueing
I was
on?
gonna say a nugget, but it can wait.
Give us the nut.
Okay, give us the nug.
I was gonna tell listeners we're meandering right now, but this is gonna be a good episode because I'm excited to talk about everything that we're about to talk about.
I know we have some pretty
And we have
pretty interesting
a
subjects
sponsor
here.
later, which is
So
always
we
fun.
do have a little sponsor later. We'll celebrate that when we get there. One last nugget.
Yes,
Can I have
please.
The morsel.
All the nuggets. More morsels.
About this
You
sketch that
beautiful man.
nobody knows what we're talking about because we're not being specific about it
They'll
because
know
we
then,
think
no?
it's a secret. But
Oh yeah, we could just talk about it.
yeah. Anyways, the cool thing about it is that we shot it in 2 locations and it's really fun. It's kind of this. It's a marriage of one era of Valleyfolk with another era of Valleyfolk because one set is in our temporary office space and the
Yeah.
other set is in our new office
Yeah,
space. So
and I
that's
miss
fun.
it. I miss that old office space where, not to get
Office space,
incredibly
Airbnb.
like, but not to be too tangential because this is. I mean, whatever. We're off the hinges now because we don't have a lease, so we have a whole section of the podcast that just won't be whatever. But
Gaping hole.
It'll be a gaping hole. But do you want
Lee
to talk?
Newton,
Like, can you talk?
Gaping hole.
I think this would just be an interesting story for people to hear.
Gaping holy.
Is there an update on the missing chair story, which I think is so
Oh
hilarious?
yes, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here on
You gotta-
post Airbnb drama. After
Well, first, set it up.
after
yeah.
we were in our Airbnb for 3 weeks, at which point, at no point did anybody sleep there or do anything at all.
Which is
that
kinda
you would do
stupid,
in an
I
Airbnb.
guess.
It was incredibly stupid and missed opportunities, and that's okay. But
I had an opportunity to take someone there, but I didn't have the key on me.
like
and
a
I was-
child that
I
you
had an
stole.
opportunity, and,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything it was horrible. But things happen. But anyway, we got a message from the people who run the Airbnb after we'd left, and we like signed this thing in the guest book, and we're like, hey, we're starting this company, and we're really excited, and we're really terrified, and thank you so much. This means so much. We're always gonna remember this place. And then they messaged me, and they were like, hope you enjoyed the space. Do you know where the chair is in the bedroom? And
Wait. Tell them what it actually said first.
that was it.
There was a typo, and it wasn't
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. They said, do you know where the share is?
the share.
SHAIR.
And so we talked about that for quite a while because we were like, it has to be chair.
But it can't be chair because there was literally only one chair in the apartment,
And
we
also-
left
Must be
it
share.
there.
And also,
there's
like-
something called a share, and they don't have it right now.
But also, like, what? Has anyone ever taken a chair from an Airbnb?
I'm gonna wager yes.
I mean,
I
I
bet
guess
they
okay,
have,
fine, sure, because it's I guess anything.
Maybe that's
is
why
possible.
that Airbnb only had one chair. They have, they are used
It
to
did
people
have one
taking
chair.
their
You know
damn chairs.
In the guest book, I did put thanks for the chair.
Did you really?
I signed it.
Good.
P.S. Thank you for
Damn
the
it,
chair.
Elliot. We almost got away with it.
But then I couldn't find my way back into the Airbnb account, and it took days. And then eventually I signed back in, and I was like, hey, I'm assuming you mean chair, and we never took a chair. I'm 100% confident that no chair or furniture of any kind or anything belonging to the apartment ever left that place. And then they didn't respond.
Oh, great. So we're good.
So that's
over.
the end of the.
And it was the Valleyfolk
But I
Airbnb
love-
account that I will now shut down if I get a negative.
Wait, but you were,
review.
but you left out kind of an interesting thing, which was
Oh, I'm sorry.
you like. I don't know. I
I should've scripted
tangent
it.
on stories. No, I just like go all around the world when I tell stories because it's just like there's so many fun moments where you can
All
just
around the
you
world,
can milk it.
Steve is telling a story. Na, 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 na,
Can't
na,
find
na,
my
na.
chair. Can't find my chair. No, but the thing.
Do you guys know the Red Hot Chili Peppers version? All around the world, people get bit. You know
Oh,
that?
I don't know that.
All
Right,
around
it's
the
a good- it's from
world.
Californication.
Steven tells a story.
Oh, it's like the breakdown, the bridge of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Californication. That's a great song.
Well, it's the song all around. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, wasn't there a moment where you were like, I couldn't, like, it almost was like there was no record of us even renting the
Yeah,
Airbnb.
it was- I've
'cause you
never
couldn't
seen
find
anything
any
like it.
documentation
I couldn't
at
get in.
all.
Yeah, I was like, I signed into every email. I did recovery passwords. I searched all of my email accounts for like Airbnb. I've never seen anything like it. And then I got my computer open, and it was just open, and it didn't.
I'm sorry.
That's how it's gonna be. Okay.
We go.
It's just such a strange situation because it was just like, not only were they like, "Where's our chair, bro?" You also like couldn't find any documentation
I
of like
felt
us
very
even
Twilight Zone
like
it.
it felt like like I was like, did we get scammed somehow?
Yeah.
Like, are we about to be involved in some big scam? Yeah. Like, are we about to get like we're about to lose so much money and go
There's
to court for something?
Some poor middle-aged couple out there in the world right now that we've never met that are missing a share, and they're very
Oh
sad.
man.
But the share we have is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Eat it.
So, shall we jump in, guys?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any housekeeping from last time, right?
I don't think so either. And who cares? Certainly the audience doesn't.
We will only do it when it's interesting.
Certainly no one listening cares.
Certainly the audience only cares if it turns into a bit. So, do you guys want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I think Joe goes first.
Joe goes first.
I'll start off.
Joe goes
today.
first.
Why not? I want to talk about something that's kind of going on, and then get tangential like my friend Steve here, and go into something else.
Love that.
This Hawaii volcano crap is insanity. And saying
Yeah.
crap is insensitive, but it's been erupting for 2 weeks now.
And it can't be stopped.
And there's like every day there's another
They
because
tried
it can't be
plugging it.
stopped.
It can't be stopped.
It can't be stopped.
There's one guy that's like, yes, it can.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Nobody got a bunch of ice.
Like, you think like that's not a joke. They can't stop it.
No, they can't stop it.
They
No.
really can't
no,
stop it.
that's a force of God.
It's
Yeah.
been constant eruptions for 2 weeks now, and like every day it's something new. It's lava going over main highways and stuff like that. And the newest thing that's happened with it is that the lava after 2 weeks has finally started hitting the ocean, which you're like in your mind, our ignorant
"Yay,
minds, we're
that'll
like, "Yay,
help."
that's the thing. That's where it needs to go to not hurt people."
Nope.
Apparently, it's just as bad because then the immense cooling releases a bunch of different gases that become toxic and release a toxic cloud. So now they have heat, they have fire spewing from the earth, and they
Jesus
have air
Christ.
that they can't breathe when they're around where the lava, the magma flow is going into the ocean. It's insanity. If you look at any of the pictures online, it just looks like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah,
All of
the
it.
craziest ones are the overhead shots.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're just like, it's a movie. Like,
Well,
it's
it's
just
'cause
like you
yeah.
said.
They're showing these fissures in the ground where it's
Yeah.
just like, here's miles of magma spitting out from beneath the ground. And then
And it's like you see movies, and the movies, I feel like growing up perfectly recreated what lava looks like to the point where you're like, surely it doesn't look like that. And then you see it in real life, and you're like, oh, that's exactly what that looks
kinda
like.
does look like
it
that.
looks like hell mud,
Hell mud's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hell Mud's real good.
Inferno putty.
Inferno putty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, your turn.
Satan's spit.
There you go.
Hades goop.
I was gonna say Satan's spill.
I'm just going blah, blah.
Yeah.
Demon spunk.
Demon spunk. That's really good.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
I didn't click on this article, but I saw one headline that said, "Man's leg shattered by flying magma." It's
Shattered.
insanity there right now.
that man is gonna get more action for the rest of
You
his
think so?
life. Yeah,
I
you
hope
kidding
so.
me? Are you kidding me?
I hope so.
Imagine.
I kicked lava and survived.
He's like,
I mean, it shattered my leg.
He's like, I'm married.
He recovers, yeah. Well, once
he's gonna be a
once
little-
he gets that magma leg fame, we'll see how everything.
Like, maybe
pans
he'll
out.
get like a statue. He'll get like a statue in
Yeah.
town or something.
Magma leg was the name of a secret move in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Magma leg.
Magma leg was my favorite Beatles album. I don't give a shit about your dumb bit anymore.
No, it's good. It's good. That was a good one.
My goal now is to just make the stupidest version of that joke, and it's gonna
I
be
really
fun.
love
That's
that
I'm
joke.
gonna dive bomb that whole thing. Anyway,
It tickles me. I love that bit.
Keep going. This is so interesting.
So let me parlay the conversation and make it about us because we're
That's
not
what this is.
We're not in Hawaii.
It's our
That's a
podcast.
horrible thing that I just
No,
said.
it's not. This is our podcast. We can say whatever we want about anything here.
So I want to ask you guys, what is the worst natural disaster that you've ever
we might be in it
experienced?
with this ambulance.
Yeah,
heading
right?
towards
Something
us.
going on.
Hawaii's magma actually probably just crossed the Pacific and now it's here. It's just slowly going to take over the whole United States.
Doesn't
Crawling out.
lava flows underwater also?
It can, but
Yeah.
it can also swiftly cool.
Right.
That's how islands are formed. They
Yeah.
just- yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah,
so
what's
you're
your
asking
question?
what natural disasters have we been involved in?
Yeah, or what is the worst, I suppose, if you had to like categorize it, what would it be? I'll go first because I really don't have super interesting ones. Up in Montana, I've always said it's kind of like, I feel like I live in the safest place ever because we don't have like big poisonous bugs or anything. We got bears, you can avoid them, but we also are not experiencing earthquakes or hurricanes or tornadoes or anything like that. It was pretty tame, but some really crazy blizzards like whiteouts driving home from like sporting events and having to pull the bus over because we might have careened off of the side of a mountain
Yeah,
pass or
yeah.
something like
Any
that.
casualties from these blizzards?
Not me personally, but they happen.
But definitely
constantly.
happen constantly?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. There's
It's
a
like
lot
people
of
just
them.
get stuck out there. And
People get stuck. A lot of like there's horror stories of like semis crossing lanes of traffic and hitting buses filled with kids and stuff like that.
oh no.
It's not good, but it's not like the world waking up and feeling like it just needs to take life. Like
Right.
that, nothing like that I ever personally experienced. It definitely happens, and I'm sure people have experienced their own versions of that up there, but I never did. Lots of snow, lots of like, oh my God, if
You're
I don't
kind
get
of
out
just
of
not
this,
safe anywhere.
Sure,
Like
but
it
there
seems.
are varying degrees of that. I have a feeling both of you probably have a much better story than got caught in the snow and it really sucked.
I mean, mine's not. Elliot might actually have the most.
We'll all disappoint. There's no epic stories coming out of any of our lives. I don't think.
I mean,
Any of-
I
no rock movies are going to be described by what we're about to.
No,
talk
definitely
about.
not. We're not gonna. These aren't any like exclusives we're throwing out here.
And, yeah, one time it became a Category 2 hurricane, and school was canceled.
But
That's
you've-
kind of basically
but
what
you've
it was.
still been hit by a hurricane, which
Yeah,
is
I've been
not-
hit by several hurricanes. I got hit by most of the hurricanes, I think, in my life.
What's that like?
Like when I was watching them on the television and I'd see something with a name swirling through Florida, you probably experienced it.
Probably. Like there was one year in particular, it was like Charles and like I forget the other names, but like there was one year where my specific county just was the epicenter for hurricanes that one time, I think it was the same year. It was like three hurricanes back to back crossed across my county, which is Central Florida, and then one of them left, came back, gained strength, and
It's
then
like, oops,
came
I
back,
forgot my bag.
and then it forgot its bag and came back and hit us again. But it was never anything so crazy that like, definitely moments of being scared. But I wonder too sometimes if like, I've been thinking about this a lot, and this is completely tangential since we're using that word a lot. But like, looking back on, sometimes I'm like, maybe I was a nihilist even like as a kid and didn't realize it.
Maybe
because
they
I
were
just,
worse than what you're giving them credit
yeah,
for.
I think they may have been, and I think I might have been a little bit more scared than I let on because I just remember being like, well, I hope school gets out, but I definitely didn't have any kind of like.
You didn't feel like you were in danger.
No, and my memories are really of those times are punctuated more by like emotional turmoil as a result of being a teenager than any kind of physical danger. Like I remember having a weird moment with my dad where we were boarding up the windows. And it was like one of those moments where we got into kind of an argument a little bit, but like that's a memory I have because of a hurricane.
That's so funny. You had hurricane days for school closure.
Yeah,
I had
hurricane
snow
days.
days. Would you guys have heat days? I know sometimes they.
I mean,
close-
not
Smog days,
really.
right? Did you have smog? Were you
I
in
mean,
that?
sometimes we had like it was too rainy. I guess.
Yeah. So a drizzle.
I don't know. I don't
sounds
know.
like a day with a
California
school.
didn't have much. Like we would only not have school if there was like a power out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what
Brownout.
were the steps that your family would do to get prepared for a hurricane coming?
You do the kind of that you get the water, you get a lot of water. You go to the store, you like Sam's Club or something, and you get water, and then you get gas. You wait in line to get a lot of gas. You fill up your tank.
And are there lines? Is it like?
Yeah, there's lines, nothing crazy. I mean, you
Yeah.
can get through, and at least in my experience, you know, because this is not the. But Ivan scared the crap out of me because I got a little bit of hubris from surviving so many hurricanes.
Hurricanes, they got nothing on me.
Exactly. And then so when Ivan was coming along, everyone was freaking out. Do you remember that last year when Ivan was about to hit Florida and everybody was like, it's gonna decimate Florida? I was like, no, it's not. Everything's gonna be fine. And for sure, like destroyed my parents' house. Like it was like not.
Oh yeah, that's
not
right.
Not the house itself, but like the deck and like their the patio and everything. It just ripped it all apart and scared the crap out of them. Like when I called them the next day, they were like thankful for their lives because some crazy debris was slamming against their window and could have come through the window and could have smashed them. And
that was their neighbor saying, "Let me in."
Exactly. Yeah.
Good God, let me in.
I'm lonely. I'm alone. I'm bored. But yeah, that
was their neighbor Ivan.
Not in for not trying to get in for
safety.
safety.
Remember Ivan last year?
Yeah. Crazy Ivan.
Yeah, crazy Ivan.
He drove a car into my dad's garage. It was devastating.
It was devastating, and that's why you can't live in Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely nothing like lava spewing from the earth, but
for sure
enough to be like looking back. Like the weirdest thing about the Florida thing was just being okay growing up with like gators in the water. Like it was the weirdest thing when I moved out here and I could jump in a lake and there's not like creepy. Even in the ocean, there's like barracudas.
We've
watching
talked
you and
about
stuff.
this. It boggles my mind that you'd just be like, yeah, there's gators there. We shouldn't swim, but we will
all the time.
Oh, that's
no hesitation.
that's insane.
By the shore, like where they hang out. We would jump off the dock. There was a ladder leading into the water as if to say this is safe. It was not safe at all.
Is it normal or were you guys dumb?
No, all the kids did it.
Crazy.
If you grew up in that
but it's probably
environment,
still dumb.
Maybe, but you just don't like. You don't care. Like everybody does.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's a
You're
weird.
used-
Is
thing.
it because
You're
it
used
didn't
to
really
gators.
happen around where you were?
Yeah, I think you just kind of keep an eye out.
Yeah.
You know, and you look, and then if you see a gator, you get out of the water.
Yeah. And if you're a parent and your kid is taken by a gator, you don't say anything because you don't want to be the
You keep your mouth
the
shut.
parents that have the kid that got by the gator.
Right,
you know?
because then you'll always be known as that
you're the
person.
you're the gator
I have
parents.
one brother now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
current tally
Yeah.
2 Morgan boys.
Yeah. They don't swim in gator infested
Wasn't
waters anymore.
always like that. There used to be 7 Morgan
Was
boys.
it scary to like sit through
Seven.
a hurricane?
I had 5 brothers.
Like,
Yeah.
what would you do while it was passing
had to
through?
be a
It was
little
kinda
scary.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, it was
Would
cool
you hear
when the
shit like
lightning would
smashing
pass.
around outside and stuff?
See, this is me going back to being a kid, but when the lightning would pass and my parents couldn't see or hear thunder or anything, they'd green line us to go get in the pool, and then all our friends would come over, school would be out, and we'd just hang out in the pool. I'm sorry, I should be making this sound way more dangerous, but I just have really fond memories
sounds like
of
a fun
hurricanes.
time.
What you're talking about is how people get acclimated to where they friggin' live, though.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
I'm sure some of the snowstorms that I went through and the blizzards that I endured up there, Steve, even you weren't in wintry conditions growing up, you'd be like, why do you guys do this? A lot of people just go, why do you live up here? And I'm like, well, it's because it's kind of a utopia. But a lot of people are like, nah.
I know it
No way,
really
man.
does seem like it is. I realize that now as a older person that the Montana and that kind of place, because it seems so intimidating. There's so many rock structures and what have you, but apparently it's just a very safe
build a
place.
lot of rock
What is
structures.
going on outside?
I don't
That's
know. It's
crazy.
terrible.
Something
Something going down.
Guys, is it like a full moon or something? There's a witching. What about you, Steve? Did you survived?
Yeah, I lived through. I was around for the Northridge. Was it like 97, 93 or something?
94?
94.
I don't know.
Maybe it was
We're
94. The Northridge, the big
Good God.
Northridge earthquake. It was terrifying. I mean, I remember the
Where
aftershocks.
were you when it hit?
I think it was nighttime. I think, and I was at home, and everyone was sleeping, and we woke up, and it was just like a fucking horrible earthquake, and it was at the time where earthquake like safety was like hanging out in a doorway, which they say is like incredibly unsafe now. They say like don't do that. But yeah, I remember just the whole family huddled in a doorway while the whole freaking world is shaking, and it was terrifying.
Were you asleep and it woke you up?
I was asleep and it woke me up. Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, I couldn't imagine something that would make you feel more disoriented than that. Like,
It's
the
earthquakes-
world is jumping.
Earthquakes are terrifying to me. Like, I know everyone like who's not from here is like, I haven't felt it. Like, there's so many people that are like, I still haven't even felt an earthquake, or like when an earthquake happens, they're like, whoa, and then they'll just be like, that was fun, and it's like, you haven't felt a terrifying, massive earthquake,
Dude, I experienced a small one. Don't even remember the Richter scale because it didn't matter. But it was in Spokane, Washington, of all places. I was in one of those big lecture halls, just sitting in a seat, and I just felt my body sway.
Yeah, you sway.
Just twice.
And you're
It was
like,
a-
am I dizzy? First you think you're
yes,
dizzy.
It was a
yeah.
real short one. And all I could remember thinking was, I know that one didn't matter, but that was the most unnatural thing that I've ever
It's
felt
just-
as a
it's
terrestrial
unnerving.
walking
Yeah.
earthling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Like-
most terrifying thing about it is like you can't escape it. If you're in the middle of an earthquake, you're like, you just got to ride it out.
Yeah, man.
Like, and the world is moving below your feet, so you can't like climb up something and not feel it. You just have to. There's nothing you can do. You just have to ride it out, and that's terrifying to me because what if it doesn't stop? I mean, I just remember thinking that like these earthquakes, some of the ones from when I was younger were like they just wouldn't stop. They're just going and
They go
going
for a
and
long
going.
time. Oh,
yeah,
man.
and you're like, what do I do? Like the whole house is just doing this, and you're like, am I supposed to just like live right now? Like, what do I do? What do I do?
like
Like,
making a sandwich.
yeah, like, and
You want
I
to survive, you want to help, but there's nothing you can do in the situation.
yeah,
wouldn't
and you
know-
want it to stop.
I
You want it to
wouldn't
stop
have-
is the thing.
In my limited experience with earthquakes, I wouldn't have a clue what to do.
Yeah,
to help.
man.
I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know how to protect myself. I have no idea.
I mean, get under a table is what
A
they say to
table?
get under a table.
Stop juggling knives.
Ugh.
Like, stop.
Get out of your glass room.
Like, stop. Get out of the glass room.
Get out of the glass room. Stop juggling
yeah, I
knives.
know you like hanging out in the glass room. Get out of the glass room during an earthquake.
You guys know it.
No, but like something like this table, like if an earthquake happened right now, we would have to just get under this table. It's the only thing we could do. And unfortunately,
I wonder if that's just because they need a surface above you that it could smack into you to break the fall. Like this table
it's very
will
very possible that
distribute-
the apartment above me could collapse through, and you're safer under a steady
A something.
under a something. Yeah.
What's that was a huge earthquake, the Northridge. It was massive.
It was
Again,
like 8 or 9
I was
point something.
I was
10
up
I don't
in
know.
my little fantasy utopia in Montana, and we would only read about that type of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like for you in the aftermath of all of it?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just you're terrified for quite a while afterwards. I mean, there's also aftershocks.
And do you remember the destruction?
I remember the destruction. I remember seeing stuff all over the news. I remember like Northridge is like not far from here, man.
Up the road.
Literally, like and we're on a fault line. Like this is a fucking fault line where
Yeah.
we are. It could happen again at any moment, and a lot of this area was like
Ring of Fire is a little awoke right now.
Yeah, man. It's really scary stuff. But you know, you can't live your life
Didn't like
fearing it.
a couple freeways.
Yeah,
fall
freeways
and-
collapsed, and
Jesus.
it was very terrifying. A lot of casualties, a lot of hurt people. But the aftershock, I remember the aftershocks too. I remember laying down on the floor in my living room, and I had this Nightmare Before Christmas book, and I remember just like reading through it, and then I go like, oh, there we go, and it'd just be another rolling like thing like this, and then the china in the freaking thing would be like clink 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 clink.
The
clink,
wrestler.
clink. Yeah, China the wrestler.
Jack Halloween was
And
like,
you could look you could look out the window, and the telephone poles are just going like this.
That's so crazy.
It's like my mom talks about an earthquake that happened when she was really young, and she remembers looking out the window and seeing the street rolling like this, and then one of her brothers put on the dun 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 on
Wow.
a record. He put a record on and started just playing that.
the
song.
one brother that just sat by that record player for years.
He couldn't
waiting
wait
for that
Yeah, he
freaking
couldn't wait.
moment.
Yeah.
It's
really
my
funny.
time.
I know, how great is that? Which kind of, I guess maybe that's where the genetic kind of like weird like putting on a music track thing for me comes from. I don't know, but yeah, Northridge was terrifying. That's the closest I've ever. I mean, that's the biggest natural disaster.
there's
been in.
I mean,
cool
that's a
stuff.
significantly big natural disaster.
Yeah, absolutely, a record one for California for sure.
There's cool stuff I think that happens with a lot of the natural disasters though, where people kind of come together and it's really nice. I know like
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
hurricanes, like a big thing is just going out and like getting on the four-wheelers and like going and like grabbing the trees
helping your fellow
out of
man,
the
yeah.
street. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's one huge thing is like you can't go anywhere because like huge trees will wind up in the road, and so you have to go with chainsaws or whatever and cut down the trees and just move it off to the side, and like people just do it. They don't need to be asked. There's no assigning. It's like a very nice part of the South where it's just like, okay, now we go help.
I mean, when you think about it, I suppose because we had a lot of flooding up there too. So that if there was a big flood, this type of stuff would happen. People coming out together, but like, there's nothing that reminds you that we're all the same and puts you on an equal
yeah.
level
yeah.
more than Mother Nature just kicked your fucking
Yeah.
asses.
That's why Watchmen's so brilliant, because it has that whole like the brilliant plan for world peace is to create an intergalactic threat and
Yeah.
and make the world believe that it was a shared world threat. And that saved the world basically.
That's Watchmen.
That's Watchmen, yeah.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
Last night, I was at a stand-up show. It was Mike Falzone's Friends and Friends show. Do you know the story? Do you
Yeah.
wanna go with
No,
this?
I know of the show though. No
s-
prepared material.
No prepared material.
You
it's
walk
just
up
crowd
and
work.
you just boom. You start talking to the audience.
So we start talking to the audience, and I do mine. It was a great show. Best that's
Oh, you had
ever
a good
happened.
audience?
Yes,
Great.
they're so
It's
good.
the only way it works.
So this guy gets up. I do my thing, and then Delman does his set, and I'm like, you want to go grab a drink, and we'll come back before this thing's over. And so we go and we have a drink at Kibit's room, and we come back, and there's a comedian on stage, and he's talking to the crowd naturally, and he looks at this guy, and he goes, what do you do for a living? And I hear the guy just go, I'm a film director. And then he goes, oh, did I just like ruin like my chance of being in a movie or something? And then I hear the guy who clearly knew him just go, yeah, he did. He just actually ruined it. And then the guy goes, what's your name? And he goes, my name is Zach. And he
Oh,
goes,
no.
he goes, okay. He goes, what have you directed? And then Zach goes, do you know of any other
No
directors
way.
whose first name is Zach?
No way.
And he looks at him, and then the guy starts kind of laying into him a little bit. And then he gets off stage, and I go outside. I don't think anything of it. And all of a sudden, the guy who knows him is just like, yeah, we were hoping he wasn't going to ask about like what he did because he kind of like wants to keep a low profile. And I looked at him and go, wait, what? And he goes, yeah, that's Zack Snyder. And then the comedian comes out, and I go, dude, do you remember when you just reverse heckled one of the most famous directors in the world? And he looked at me and he goes, what?
Or notorious,
And I go,
really, not famous.
Notorious,
I'd
yeah.
say.
And he goes, that was Zach. I go, that was Zack Snyder that you were talking to. And he freaked out. He goes, oh my God. And he was totally cool
Who was
about it.
you don't want to say who it was that was heckling him?
Yeah, his name is Kyle Rell. He's hilarious. And he works in the
Because I was
going
going to say that had to have been Mike Falzone because Mike would not know who the fuck that was.
Right, and Zack Snyder was definitely very like being coy
What the fuck
and
was
cute
Zack
about
Snyder
it.
doing there?
He's enjoying a night
He
of
knows-
comedy.
It was a friend of a friend thing. He
Oh.
knew somebody who knew somebody, and so that's.
Wow, I'm surprised he didn't get attacked. Everyone's real upset at Zack Snyder.
I know. He's got to keep.
I'm
up.
not upset at Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder can do it.
Directing movies is hard.
Yeah,
Sure.
Are you kidding me? Holy crap! Especially something that kind of IP.
Yeah, but when you
Yeah,
make like 2 good movies, out of,
Listen
like,
to me.
9,
Now that I've met him once, I'm like, yeah, cut him some slack.
Well, that's kind of how it is with everybody.
yeah. Oh wait, actually, he's a human being.
It actually wasn't that bad.
Guys,
You guys, I feel good. You guys have any other?
yeah,
You
we're
wanna
at the
move
36-minute mark here.
guys, Joe, what do you have to tell him?
on? You guys. We've got our third sponsor.
Oh my!
Thank you to this sponsor for helping us keep the lights on and grow this baby.
Baby. Ladies and gentlemen, our third sponsor of all time is Hims. Hims is a new wellness brand for men. So here's a couple of fun facts you guys might not know. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. That's too many in my opinion.
66%.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
That's
here's the
frightening.
thing. When you start to notice...
I did not know that statistic.
I don't like that statistic.
I know it's terrifying. When you start to notice hair loss, it's already too late.
Oh,
no.
Jesus.
It's actually easier to keep the hair that you guys have, that I have, than it is to replace any hair that you've lost. So let me ask you.
You're saying as opposed to growing new. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that hairline that you have when you look in the mirror, is it slowly starting to move backwards? Are there any bald spots? Let me see,
what
Joe.
is yes?
What is
Joe,
yes?
you look good. I think we've all been blessed, I think.
I'm
with
noticing this like
heads of
weird
hair.
bald spot
It's
in
going
my
back
beard
though.
right now.
It's going back.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How will you feel a year from now if it's business as usual up there? How would you like that?
I think I
Just
feel
good
pretty
things?
pretty damn skippy.
Do you want a bald spot to pop up, or do you want to do something about it first?
What about a beard bald spot?
Let me ask you this, Steve. Do you want your hairline to recede, or do you want to do something about it first?
You gonna do something about it?
I would rather my hair not recede.
How about instead of doing any of that, instead of worrying and not doing anything, you turn instead to medicine and science? I'm talking about forhims.com, which is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness, all for men. And thanks to science, don't know if you've ever heard of it, baldness can actually be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss, well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. No snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements, even though I have been known to buy a gas station counter supplement every now and
And I
then.
love a good snake
Doesn't
oil.
work.
But that's
Prescription.
oil. That is oil derived directly from wringing
You
out
have to
a
wring
snake.
out a snake. It's dangerous and it hurts them. Prescription solutions are backed by science. There is no waiting room. There's no awkward doctor visits. Save hours by going to forhims.com. It's so easy. You answer a few quick questions. A doctor will review and can prescribe you products. They're shipped directly to your door. Okay.
Bam.
So here's the deal. Order now. Listeners of the Valleycast get a trial month of hymns for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. See the website for full details. Check out the link in the description. This would cost hundreds of dollars, by the way, if you went to the doctor or pharmacy.
Now.
It won't. So go to forhymns.com/Valleyfolk. That's forhymns.com/Valleyfolk for hymns.com/Valleyfolk.
I'm gonna check it out because I have receded here, and I might need to stop that. So
it's actually sometimes a hairline. Like this isn't like a hair loss thing. It's just a hairline.
it's just your head getting fatter.
My head gets a little fat sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
I got a little fat head.
I'm blessed and don't have much going on in the balding area, which is very terrifying to me because my mom's side of the family is where all the balding has happened.
Yeah, man.
Is that where you take from?
Yeah, I mean that's where most people take.
That's what
their
they say.
Hereditary.
Yeah, my mom's dad was a baldy.
My mom, I think my mom's whole men side all had hair and still do. So I think I dodged a very big bullet because I would have a hard time with it, and I could totally respect doing anything about it. I'm not one of those people that's like, don't.
Yeah, man.
Like take care of your head.
Yep.
If you guys like lost like the first half, I'd Bruce Willis it. I'd just be gone. I'd just bring.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
be
you'd
shaving
have
the hell
to.
out of
You'd
it.
have to.
I think that can work if you're like if you have a man head. You do. If I shaved my head, I would look like a little baby. I'd look like a little worm baby.
Yeah, I think I'd look real weird
I wouldn't
too.
look good.
I could rock it. I could just put on like some kind of like news, like page boy cap or something.
Yeah.
And probably rock that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
forhymns.com/Valleyfolk. Check it out. And my subject, if you guys don't mind me bringing it up, is I've been going through a certain amount of revelations in my life just as a result of my life. And one thing I've particularly noticed is that sometimes I have little hang-ups. One hang-up in particular is jealousy. So I told this story to you guys briefly before we started the podcast, but on Friday night, I was in bed and I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw a post that Taylor Swift made. And in the photo that she made, or in the photo that she posted, she was very close with Shawn Mendes. And I didn't like how touchy-feely they were in the photo.
Like you saw that photo and you were adamantly taken aback in a negative way.
I felt a genuine pang of like, F you. And so I DM'd
Like you
her.
felt a connection. Like you felt like these
Listen,
are people you
listen,
know.
You turned into
Listen.
a bit of a crazy person?
You turned into a crazy person. That's exactly what happened.
insane person.
Yeah, you turned into an insane
So I
person.
direct messaged the biggest star in the world, and I said,
Like you do.
and I said, fine.
Capital FINE period?
Yes.
Was it it was a story? It was a story or a post?
It was a post that
A post, okay.
I then, because she doesn't have like reply to direct stories directly, I like direct messaged her own post and replied that way.
You know that if she were to see that, that would look insane.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
insane.
if she happens to stumble upon this podcast.
But here's the thing.
She won't.
She won't. I checked my DMs the next morning and forgot that I'd sent that.
That's funny.
And I burst out laughing.
It's really funny. Yeah.
It was one of the few things that like me and like my Friday night had a few drinks stupor has done where I've looked back on it and gone, that's hilarious. And I will do it. I'm going to continue doing it. And here's the problem. Here's what I know. There's two things.
Wait, just to Taylor or to everybody?
No, just
that
to
you
Taylor.
shouldn't.
Just to Taylor. No one that could
yeah.
actually ever open their messages.
This is not a good idea. Elliot.
I'm not going to really do it again. But listen, here's the thing. I think, one, who do I think I am? And two, there is something where it's like I'm highly insecure and I have all these little sensitive buttons that people can push. We've talked about this. And one thing that is juxtaposed entirely with having sensitive buttons is 100% an asinine, astronomical ego that thinks that if I were to have a conversation with Taylor effing Swift, that I'd actually be all right. Like I'd hold my own. And that's insane. It's like there's a yin.
It's irrational behavior.
It's irrational, and it's completely living alongside the other part of me that desperately needs to be loved and told that he's okay.
Yeah.
So it's
You
like
need a hug.
It's like I have both,
but not from just anybody. from the biggest star
He
on the
needs
planet.
he needs a $10 million hug.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need a $10
yeah.
million hug.
No, but
Which is my
definitely-
favorite 70s game show.
You know, we all like celebrity crushes.
Welcome back to the $10 million hug.
It's my favorite brand of bologna. Listen, see, I did it again. I'm gonna-
That's
horrible.
I
That's
didn't like that one.
yeah.
The other one was actually decent.
That's why I'm trying to make the worst one. Just
Yeah,
to
okay.
anger
Just
you.
le-
It's
just
more of a
drop
troll
it
thing,
if you're
but,
gonna do that.
I know it's like sacred. I know. It's a
Don't be a
sacred
comedy
bit.
killer.
It's not a sacred bit. It's just a good bit that you're ruining.
All right, well, we can talk about that more later. We can talk about that off the record. I do love that bit. Anyway, it's a crazy thing, and I don't know what to do with it, but I think it's very funny. And I'm going to end up. I don't know. They were just too close in that photo. Like I
It
didn't
really
like
bummed you out.
Like I was just like, really. Well,
You
yeah.
were in a place in that moment of time
I projected onto
where
her.
you were allowing yourself like a pretty big what if.
No, you know what it is? I think I figured it out just now. I think I project. I know what I did. Yep. Okay, I'm figuring it out. I project onto people I don't know things that I know in other areas to keep me from confronting.
Who was the Taylor Swift that wasn't the
Oh,
Taylor
I know.
Swift? You know?
I know right away.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it, but I'm just saying.
Oh, it's
Taylor's,
Lee.
Taylor.
And whenever you see her with
It's
Delman,
Lee's gaping hole.
It kills
yeah,
me. It's
kills,
Lee's gaping
kills
hole.
you inside.
Gaping hole Lee. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my not. I guess to segue into any of that, what are y'all's thoughts when it comes to
The world is ending.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Yeah, man.
Like you guys talk, I'm gonna just go look out the window really
See if
quick.
something's on fire.
because they keep going. It's not here.
I know, but I'm just gonna see if I can go look out the balcony and see smoke or something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, yeah,
look.
man.
All right.
Go
Well,
to
in the
town.
meantime, I'm going to throw this out there. I'll try to talk a little louder away from the mic. But my thoughts on jealousy, being slightly more immature than you would like to be, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's super immature, and I think, well, that's not fair. I feel like there's a lot of emotions that are connected to it. Oh, it looks like you might see something. We'll keep you updated. Here was my thought on jealousy for the longest time when I was getting into new relationships, or even my relationship with my wife currently, or my future wife currently. I've always thought jealousy was the pettiest of emotions, and it was kind of a waste of your emotional fortitude, and it would actually make me angry.
Emotional fortitude.
I just didn't like it. Like, not being happy for somebody in a certain situation and having your immediate response be, it's not me, and because of that, then I am angry, and I'm going to lash out, and I'm going to punish that person with that emotional reciprocation. I've always hated it.
It's horrible.
I've always felt like there was healthier things to do, and it was as simple as, like, if I'm talking to somebody else, or even if she, girl, wife, whoever, is talking to somebody of the opposite sex, I would never get jealous. I would always just think, if it's a threat, I know it's not a threat because she's with me, so good for her for getting attention from the world
Yeah.
because
Or
she's
if
beautiful
it-
and interesting or whatever. Like, I'm not saying I don't feel it sometimes, but I try to keep it at bay.
You just check it. You're like, okay, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it is a threat, there's also the possibility that like it just is happening and there's another reason for it.
But I've got a brother that's sitting over next to a record player with a really dope Michael Jackson track at the go. I'm just going to beat him in a dance battle.
There's like it's like an 8-year-old thing. It's
You
like
think that an 80s movie trope is gonna save your relationship?
Tropes are tropes because they're real, y'all.
tropes are tropes because they're real, y'all. I thought you were referencing the
The worm?
the worm.
That's what I thought he was gonna
rolling
the
road.
earthquake and
Oh,
then
yeah.
that's what I thought he was going to also.
But I
Anyway.
also understand jealousy. I really do, because I do feel it sometimes as well. I just to let it win sucks, especially when it's in a negative, angry way that affects others. However, you're going the humor route to take your jealousy to the next level was awesome to me. I love
Okay.
that.
Great.
I love that.
I like to have a good time. Oh my lord.
Did you see anything?
Wherever this one's going, it's not where the other one was going.
Oh.
So
What if they all then? It's this way, guys, and then
they're all
they
accidentally
start
going the
coming-
wrong way.
Yeah.
Back over there, I saw some helicopters, but
Do you guys remember the beginning of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead?
yeah, it was just like that.
Yeah, that's a great Zack
That's
Snyder
yeah,
movie, by
yeah.
the way.
That and
So
Watchmen
good.
are like the only good Zack Snyder
300's a good
movies.
movie. It's fun.
He laughed. He laughed at me.
That's fun.
He laughed.
Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
You'll be
cool.
in his next movie.
You know what?
That's how
he
it's-
didn't mention anything about it, but I like to think maybe
That'd be a career
I'll
killer.
DM
I'd
him.
say don't do it.
If I see other people in the movie that he's doing, I'll DM him.
You want to be in the movie the next movie from the guy that made Justice League?
Yeah, it's going to be Donner of the Dead.
100%. Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
Under no world would I turn anything.
Wait, hold on. Let me adjust your collar. Your snob is showing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd do it too, but you got to think about it.
Kidding me, man?
You got to think about
Kidding
it.
me?
That would
dude
be
that dude has directed a man dressed as Batman. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's like the closest you can come besides. Oh, by the way, I got PS4 VR in my home right now.
Oh, yeah.
In Arkham Asylum.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a real good
I
one.
mean, my housemate got it, but I'm going to be playing it a lot. Yeah. Anyway, what else?
Can jealousy be good? Like because it might
I really don't think
give
it
you
can.
challenges in
No,
the moment. Do you know
F
what I
it.
mean?
No,
like,
F it.
Oh, you don't think anything good comes from
make
jealousy?
you strive
It
to
can-
be a better person if you're handling jealousy the correct way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe it can teach you something about yourself, because I know sometimes I can get kind of aloof and get kind of like I don't care, overly laid back. And I think jealousy is a way that my subconscious goes like, oh, no, actually, you care about that.
yeah,
person.
work harder. Maybe,
But it's
something you
totally
can take
made up,
from it.
by the way. Like it's completely made up. That's the other thing about jealousy is 99% of the time you're totally making.
Well,
it
yeah,
up.
because person A is talking to person B. You like person A, and then you see person B and that conversation going, and all
Yeah.
you're doing is elaborating in your mind.
Right.
Like, she's talking to him because of this, and
Yeah.
then this is going to happen, and then this.
Right. It's
Yeah.
paranoia.
Mr.
and
Brightside
insecurities.
by Killers, like the lyrics in Mr. Brightside are very much like that's how it feels, where it's like it's just him imagining, and now she's touching his, he's touching his, and I'm letting me
yeah.
go, and it's just
Dun,
in
dun.
his head, and it's a good song. You probably haven't heard of it, Steve. It's called Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside.
No, I've definitely heard of it. I have it on Rock Band.
Steven,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on jealousy?
Or you can segue into whatever you want.
I think mine mirror your guys' thoughts. I don't have anything really to add to it other than like I've felt jealousy before, but it doesn't really happen much anymore because it's one of those things where it's like, what's the point in getting jealous about something that you can't help really?
Do you have any recollections of a time where it affected you, or you lashed out in a negative way? Because I just thought of the only one for me.
No, I think it like jealousy has mostly just kind of like when it has ever affected me in any way, it just kind of motivated me.
Yeah.
to
kinda
lash
just-
out,
To murder.
To murder, yeah.
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 to fight that person.
Yeah.
With a knife.
And
Not the
take what they
person-
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
what they have, take what belongs to
Yeah.
them.
And somehow extract their soul and eat it. It's the only way to get
Yeah, man.
what they have.
There it goes with the soul eater.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't mind it. I don't mind a sense because it felt so muted for so long that the very feeling of misdirected jealousy and misdirected ego or whatever at least makes me feel like I'm alive in some way.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I feel like this is better than. Like, I don't want to be a monk. I used to think I did for a long time. I was like, I want to go and I want to stay in like a Tibetan sanctuary.
Yeah, but then you just feel that like split jealousy. Like that monk does the splits better than me.
Man, that monk sits on that rock real good.
He's way more tranquil than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, he looks so much more enlightened than I am.
You know where I think we probably feel it the most, and we're not really realizing it, is professional jealousy.
Yeah, of
We all
course.
feel that. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
everybody feels that, and it's just so much harder to
But like I
negatively
said,
react to.
but I think I'm at a point in my life where jealousy in the industry that we're in has turned more into, especially when it's like friends or someone you know, has turned more into just being happy for that person.
Yeah.
And just motivates me to be better at what I'm doing. you
Yeah.
know? That's
Murder.
that's how
You're
I
right.
see it now.
I like that one.
But back in the day, it was very much one of those things where it was like, "Ooh, why can't I? Why can't I? Why
Do
not
the
me?
splits.
Why not me?"
Why not me?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cool.
my turn. My topic.
I think so. I
Jealousy.
have nothing to.
Concluded.
My
Jealousy
topic
concluded.
kind of plays in the same realm a little bit of like kind of perception of relationships, I guess, and just kind of like other people.
I feel like I kind of already locked it down. So
Oh, okay. I can change mine.
You can go. We'll see you later.
My topic
Just
is
walking.
based on the idea of, and for no particular reason, of course.
Of course.
Of course. The idea of potentially seeing someone who once dated a friend. Like, kind of like dating an ex of a friend.
I'm so interested to hear you expound upon this.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is that thing? Like, it's something that, like, you know, either it's happened to us personally or we've been a party to a friend who's gotten into a situation that's very similar to that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like there's like a Geneva Convention sort of established of like
Friendiva Convention.
the Friendiva Convention. Yeah, that's nice. Ooh, that's a hard slap. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like one of those things where it's like everyone's different. Everyone has a different way of feeling about certain emotional things, and there's like a bro code that we all kind of like.
A broad.
Okay, buddy.
Broad's my favorite.
But bro code is so short. It doesn't need to be shortened even more.
Yeah, man. It's short for brother.
Broad's my favorite.
Yeah, bro code is short for brother code.
Or Brontosaurus.
Broad's my favorite root-based vegetable.
The Broad's a great museum, I think, isn't it?
The Broad, yes, of course. The Museum of Burton. Modern Art.
Burton, Ron,
Ramen.
Noodle
Orange, and dinosaurs.
Brontosaurus, bro, for circle.
For circle. Here's one of my
For
favorite.
sure.
For sure.
But yeah, so like my whole thing is like there's this bro code of like, you know, once you've dated somebody, like you're not allowed to like
You've
even
claimed that land.
Yeah, and it's like and it's the idea.
We have taken America, but now we're gonna leave for a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of
nobody else can have America.
It didn't
Yeah.
work out between me and America, so no one can live.
It's kind of like one of those things that like when you were in high school.
You know what? Lee should be here for this part.
She should totally be here for this. It's kind of one of those things where like when you're in high school, I know because it's like men talking about this super patriarchal garbage.
Hey, she'll cover it in housekeeping, y'all.
Yes, exactly.
That's
she
so
won't
funny.
listen to this.
She'll cover it in housekeeping.
Yeah.
We'll get the woman to cover it in housekeeping.
Yeah, exactly. I know, and I was also thinking about how like when we were all talking about our titles for the Valleyfolk, she's like, "I'm secretary," and I was like, "Oh, oops, hit the brakes."
We literally like put those in a friggin' like Price's Right bag and like just took out titles.
Yeah, basically.
We did it because we have to have them.
But anyway, so like the whole like bro code thing is something that like when we were in high school, when we were like children, basically, it's something that we like adhered to, like just because like it was important to like be tight with your bros and like don't and kind of like not mess around with that dynamic.
Do you guys feel like you lived under one? You subscribed to a bro code, even if it was unsaid? I don't think I did.
Heard of it.
I think that it was there, and I think it was just.
I got married when I was 8 years old, so I never had the opportunity to.
You were betrothed.
I was betrothed when I was 8, so not a lot of bros coming after your hoe at 9.
Betrothed.
I was betrothed.
You were set to marry with. We are betrothed. But that's really funny.
Betrothed. That's really good.
But it's like I think it's one of those things where it's like experiencing that kind of bro code thing as an adult is like kind of a strange concept because it's like where do these like little bro code things even derive from? They derive from kind of like property, like owning property of something.
I think it goes. You can outgrow it, but I think there is a initial thing that you're born with. It's just human nature. It goes all the way back to my kid, who's 4, has a crap ton of toys, and he doesn't play with any of them most of the time. But as soon as his sister takes it, and he sees his thing with somebody else, something inside cues that jealousy, cues that rage, and he gets angry. And he's like, "No, that's mine."
I wonder what that is in like on a biological level or like an evolutionary level. Because I mean everything that we all do and all these kind of like little quirks we have are all based in some evolutionary point. So when it like and I was thinking about how like in the animal kingdom, the idea of like a mate or the idea of like, you know, your clan or your whatever, your pack, those types of things. Your gaggle, your murder,
your braggle if it's bros.
It's one of those things where it's like I don't know if the animals the animals are kind of like everything's free game in the animal kingdom. I feel like as far as like mates go, like someone's mate could be someone else's mate, I think.
Oh, it depends on what type of animal.
I guess it does, yeah.
There's a lot of monogamy in the animal kingdom.
But that can be explained by, I guess it could be explained by when you create a life with that thing and you want to keep that genetic line going, I guess. But I wonder what the evolutionary version of ownership is.
I don't know. The more you have, the better chance you have to survive, maybe, depending on what those things are.
Yeah.
Food, mates.
I don't understand the
territory.
So it's like, because Joe was saying, like, his son has a million toys that he doesn't give a shit about, but the second Hayden comes and takes one, it's like murder. It's like, you're taking one of my possessions.
Yeah.
Like, what's the evolutionary thought behind that, you think?
I think if I were to, I don't know. I think the evolution part comes from you basically are told when you're a youngin' that everything is yours and you get everything you want. So it's like when you're a baby and you start screaming, you just like get everything. Your mother is there to give you all the nourishment and all the need and protection that you could ever desire. And then all of a sudden, as you grow up, you start to learn that the world doesn't work like that. And sometimes Hayden takes your toy. And when that happens, it robs you of that security that you were inherently, that you had because you since birth, basically. So you have to learn how to, like, what loss is, basically, and how to cope with it without being a
So I guess it comes down to the parenting at that point. It comes down to like teaching about, how, because I guess there's coddling and then there's being a parent.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
like a good parent,
you're talking at like the very early levels, though.
I'm talking, before the kid can talk.
Because we also all know that there's people out there that have had great parents that are still the person that's like, that's mine, don't touch it. Especially in the world of bros. Anyways, back to what you're...
That feeling of they took my toy, which is the feeling that jealousy feeling, I think is baked into our hard drive a little bit. And so I think that's why we're like in our 30s and we're still talking about bro codes and stuff, because what we're really talking about is like a very like sinewy, like DNA level thing where it's like there's no getting around it. Like, I know we've had this conversation with, like, especially in LA, like polyamory and all that stuff is a free love. There's a kind of that like idea, and I know me personally, I can't wrap my head around that,
right?
And because on some very deep level it makes me feel bad. And I know that might be a lack, and maybe I'm not like woke enough or whatever.
Or it's just how you perceive that idea. Like, I think everyone. I mean, it works. It actually does work for some people.
Yeah.
And then it definitely doesn't work for others. So I guess it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I guess you get to a point where you're like, am I ready to try this? Am I ready to like I guess more specifically to the point too. Like, do you recall a time when you dated someone, or you were like best friends with someone, or like, let's use those examples, and then let's say like you kind of fall out, or like you break up with someone, or your friend ends up not being your friend anymore, and then you see that person with like one of your other friends, and they have like a better relationship, or you see them like going on and kind of like doing their own thing. Has that ever affected you in a way where you were like, I don't want that. I don't want to see, like, it's one of those things where it's like when I got divorced with my ex, it was like you're thinking about like why you're divorcing them, and then you're thinking about all those problems, and you think about why it's happening. But then like some of the residual things you think about is like, oh, this person's gonna be with someone else for sure, and this person's gonna like go on and do their own thing and maybe have their own life and get married again or whatever. And it's like, can you recall a specific time in your lives when that affected you, or does that affect you?
You know what? I've been on the. You can feel free to cut
right
me
ahead.
off.
I'll get you. Unless you're not ready, then I'll go.
No, unless I think of something, my only experience has been on the end that I think you become more familiar with if you're single later in life, which is just like I've been on the end where it's like I've cut things off with people who have been friends, who have been exes of friends. But and then with me having an ex as well, I mean she's been with somebody for years, I think, at this point, and I don't have much, if any, jealousy or like that, because that was a situation where it was like, no, go be happy. But in recent times it gets worse, but never with a friend or a buddy or anything like that, which is nice. But I can almost guarantee I wouldn't like it. I mean,
that's the thing. I think it's just widely known that most people don't like it.
It's not fun. It's a bad feeling, and I think I think a lot of it. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say I think it's because when it's somebody that's close on both sides. I mean, there's a number of directions this can go. So I'm just going to throw out one theory there, based on an experience that I had, is that you may have broken things off, or things went broken off with the person that you were with, right? And I think there's still parts of you that want to be with that. There's still parts of you that want to protect that person. And there's parts of you that just wants to be far away. But then if you're close to this other party B, you also might know the intentions of that person as well.
Oh,
good
it complicates
and
it.
bad.
You're right.
And you want them to be happy, but you also know their flaws. So you're seeing two flaws come together, and you're seeing you. For me, when it happened, and this is a long time ago, again, and in small town life, like friends dating friends in small town life happens all the time.
Sure.
Once 8th grade starts and people start dating until you leave the town, and when you come back 40 years later, people are still doing it, dating one another's old girlfriends and boyfriends. And it happened, and I remember I did experience a little bit of jealousy at that point. And I think that jealousy was from maybe I wasn't quite ready to leave the thing that I left, but then I also felt a little betrayed by my friend who went and started dating that person. Not that he owed me a conversation, but I didn't know. And then I knew, and I was like, what the F, right? And there was jealousy there, but it was swiftly put under the rug after just conversations. I would talk to her and I said, does it make you happy? Great. Talk to him. Does it make you happy? Great. I want you both to be happy.
Yeah, you just talk. That's it.
Isn't it funny how talking will mostly solve almost every problem? Like almost every problem.
I sometimes find that even like having articulate thoughts like out loud in my head of just like, oh, that's interesting. I am jealous of this.
You have to be analytical to a certain degree, especially as an adult. You have to analyze these situations. And like, I feel like, obviously to you, it didn't feel good to see a friend of yours with someone or whatever, but it's like as an adult, or like the older you get, the more you realize that like, I don't know, this isn't an ownership thing, but it also shouldn't feel good, I guess.
I would contend that as an adult, you might still feel those same things. You've gained skills, hopefully over time, to be able to handle it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But like the thing about
That's
relationships,
that is what
and
it is.
the reason we don't, what you said, talking can solve everything, right?
Not everything,
right.
but
I know,
most things. Yeah.
But the thing that I wanted to point out about that statement is that relationships are really two people connecting, and then on top of all of that are layers of assumption, layers of resentment, layers, like so many layers of things that are unsaid but not necessarily true. Just how you perceive two people getting together.
Assumptions are very dangerous. Yeah.
And then conversation is just like a cheese grater that just takes those layers off a little bit at a time. The more you talk until you get to the truth, and then when you get to the truth, good or bad, it's a lot easier to handle at that point, because at least you're over your own resentment, you're over your own like perception.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If you're the type of person that's like a super jealous person, like your topic, or if you're the type of person that's like feels this sense of ownership over someone, these feelings are largely based in kind of like your own perceptions, your own issues, your own kind of like insecurities, and those are all things that like I mean, again, there is that idea of like seeing a friend with someone that you had a relationship with will always like not feel great, but it's like,
or it will.
Sometimes
okay.
It will.
Yeah.
And really it just depends on the person, I guess. But it's one of those things where it's like, these are all things that we don't really like consider as adults, really, because I feel like, again, the whole bro code thing, the whole like, I feel like that's such an old concept. It's such an outdated concept at this point too, I feel like.
The code part is, I think, for sure. But I do think there's value in being like you were saying, like when you're an adult, it's like you just know how to deal with these things a little better. And I think that like the nice thing is when, like, if you're just like, hey, this sucks. I know this probably sucks for you, or you just like acknowledge, like have that conversation of like, hey, this is a shitty thing that's happening, but at the same time, the pros are so much greater. And then all of a sudden you can hopefully dismantle it. But it takes an amount of respect to recognize the childlike jealousy in some person that you care about. What do you got, Joe?
I've got an idea for a 30-second sketch that makes me so happy.
Write it down. You're going to write it down?
Don't tell us.
Or will you remember?
It's called the Bro Code.
No.
I'm going to tell you guys immediately.
Oh, you're going to tell us on the podcast?
I don't have to. I can tell you.
Yeah, don't
later.
tell us on the podcast. But don't forget.
It's going to be so stupid.
You're not going to forget, right?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Well, because episode 2 of the
Well, then I feel like we're an hour and 7 in, so let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Cool. Closing thoughts on that?
Great topics, guys.
I think it was really fun. Do you guys feel good about how we went with jealousy and dating your friends?
I think so.
Yeah.
Girl
and also
and/or guy?
don't get it twisted. I'm typically not very much of a jealous person, but if Taylor Swift is with Shawn Mendes, it's like, come on.
What if
I'm definitely dating someone who once dated a friend. So,
congratulations.
What?
Breaking news.
Everybody, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thevalleyfolk. Also, we are a 98% crowdfunded production company that is launching this month.
So thank you all.
If you haven't become a patron and you would like to throw us a coffee a month or whatever, you can go to patreon.com/thevalleyfolk or thevalleyfolk.com. You get all sorts of perks, early access, and exclusive content. And
Ooh, speaking of, a big
please.
shout out to Charlotte Sullivan, one of
Charlotte
our
Sullivan.
100 level tier patrons.
Charsol?
Yeah, what do we do with that 100 level tier, Steve?
We give them shout outs for their awesome projects or awesome things that they just want us to shout out on our podcast. And is there an example?
Charlotte's
of that?
got something right here. Yeah, I'm just going to read what she wrote us. It's short and simple and sweet and to the point, but I think it all makes sense. She says, it may seem dumb, but I'm a single mom. That's not dumb.
That's not dumb at all.
Sorry, let me rephrase. I left a little play. It may seem dumb or a bit self-serving, but I'm a single mom who's going to school full-time. That's not dumb or self-serving. That's awesome. So congratulations.
You're a real-life superhero.
I see what you did. I see what you did. You put it.
Yep.
You do it out. You put it low, and then you deliver high.
Yeah, but she says she also has a Twitch channel. She uses it to unwind from her day every day, and she uses it to make new friends and give advice if needed, or to simply be a listening ear, all while playing a wide array of games. And you can find Charlotte Sullivan and give her some support and high fives, digital high fives for all the hard work she's putting in as a single mom. Jesus, you're awesome.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Twitch.tv/Charmandar. That's CHARMADADAR. Go check it out.
Spell that
Give her
one more
some
time.
support.
Spell it one more time.
Twitch.tv/Charmander. CHARMADADAR.
Nice.
Go give her some love. That's awesome.
Well, what's really cool about this little thing that we got going so far is already you can kind of see like communities popping up and people. The Twitch things that we've been doing are great, and she's in there all the time, which is awesome. And I think it's the coolest thing.
Go
It's
give
a
her some
good
support.
group.
And yeah, man, what she's doing is really hard and really awesome and really amazing.
Guys, I think we're done. I think we did it.
Yeah, man.
This is really
This
fun.
is really cool.
I feel
Also,
nice.
hope you guys enjoy the sketch that went up, and get ready for our main show coming very soon on the Valleyfolk channel. Very excited about that.
All right, yeah, have a great day.
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. You're
you
all
guys think
great.
the
Thanks for
bracelet's
watching
too
too.
much?
No, Elliot, and you asked me that the other day, and I like it.
It's pretty nice.
Talk to the mic.
So the sketch is called Bro Code.
No,
Okay,
cut it.
All we do is like